Hello everyone and welcome here to TownHall Overwatch. This is episode number 8, and this week we are here with Ask Joshy Spo, myself, Solid Jake, and Disciple as our guest. Today we'll be talking about Open Beta, the Coke Esports promotion that was just announced is going on, competitive play being taken out for adjustments that's going to be happening, and then all the esports news. But before we get started, Ask Joshy, how happy are you to have the Open Beta back?
Of course, I'm delighted to have the open beta back. It was a cold, dark time for the 1 week that it was down. I thought I had more time with it than I did. They ended up taking it away from me early, but they actually gave it back slightly early. So kudos to Blizzard. I didn't realize that they would be doing it on, the day before, basically, so that they could hit a global release. That was kind of a ballsy experiment by them to release it worldwide at the same minute. But I gotta say, things went pretty smoothly overall, in my experience. I'm happy to have it back.
Yeah, I think we all are. Spo, what's new with you? How are you enjoying the beta?
I actually haven't been playing the beta too much, surprisingly.
What?
Yeah, I know. I've been working on putting a montage together, so with some of the clips from closed beta. So I've been working on that. I want to get that out before release. So that's been my focus. I've still been doing some scrimming and a little bit of pubbing too, but have to give that a little bit of attention. As for the servers and stuff, I expected the servers when open beta hit to suffer a little bit, but they've actually done quite well. So that looks good for release. Pretty happy.
Awesome. Well, Disciple, welcome to the show. Why don't you introduce yourself and give us a bit of a rundown?
Sure. What's up, guys? I'm Disciple. I've been casting and making YouTube videos and streaming in the gaming scene for a few years, mostly doing League of Legends and Hearthstone. Now I do Overwatch and do a lot of sort of different types of Overwatch videos, but I also am an editor for the Gaming Curious Overwatch channel, which is currently the largest community-oriented Overwatch channel. So I edit all the best moments and plays for there. I've created music, we've done animations and stuff like that. So that's where I put most of my time into. And that's kind of what keeps me away from playing Overwatch when I'm not able to get in there.
Hey man, it sounds like a good distraction to have, right? Just keep those...
Yeah, it is.
Keep you busy. All right, guys, well, let's just jump right on into it. So obviously this is the first time a lot of people have had access to Overwatch, so there's a lot of people getting those first experiences, getting their first time in Junkrat playing my favorite hero. What has the overall response been? Like, have you guys been following social media, looking at Reddit, like looking at all the websites? And obviously the Twitch numbers are about as high as they've ever been for the game, I'd say, except for the maybe initial launch. Joshy?
Go ahead. So the responses that I've seen mostly are just, frankly, very positive. People are saying they're glad that they weren't burned by the beta, like actually getting to play it and then hating the game. So I'm seeing a lot of people saying that they don't normally play Blizzard games or they don't normally play FPS and still enjoying the game. I've seen people say that they're being peer pressured into getting the open beta by their friends and they're enjoying it unsuspectingly. So like all good vibes mostly. And then obviously you've got the trickle of my sound is broken, I can't log in, all this other stuff that comes with trying to appease every person's setup simultaneously with an open beta. But that's the reason that they do it is to troubleshoot all these various issues before release so everyone can play.
Now, Disciple, I mean, in general, like, what do you expect this game to do, right? We're in an open beta. We're finally starting to see the reach. Like, Joshy, Spo, myself, we've all talked about, like, the potential of Overwatch. But now that we've started to get this general public point of view, do you think it's going to be, like, this huge title?
I mean, I want it to be the biggest game ever. I want it to be like, the most played video game in the world. I don't know if it's going to become that. I feel like it has the potential to be very, very, very popular and to be Blizzard's most played IP for at least a period of time because it's just so widely appealing to such broader audience than what Blizzard has kind of been targeting, I feel, in the past. Or at least just it stretches out this huge sweeping arm to a great new genre of players, and I'm really excited to see what can happen. I mean, we've been seeing a lot of growth already. Like we've gotten 43,000 I think subscribers for the channel. That's just been built off of a game that's been in closed beta, and now that it's in open beta, like we've been getting a flood of email submissions for clips of people wanting to show off their new plays when they got into open beta. And I've seen so many of my friends getting into this who have been playing League for 6 or 7 years and are just so happy to have this new game, especially for people who haven't played FPS shooters in the past, but are really enjoying this because of the mobile elements.
So you mentioned like you think it has this huge reach compared to other Blizzard games. What do you think is like they're doing different that makes it like that?
I think it definitely appeals to a casual base in the fact that you can pick up and play. Obviously, there is a competitive aspect and you can play at a very high level. But say if you want to get into World of Warcraft, you can't even access raiding unless you play for hours and hours and hours and hours. But in Overwatch, you can hop into a normal matchmaking immediately once you're level 1. And you can't play ranked until you're level 25, of course. But that experience isn't that much different from just normal matchmaking. It's just the level of play. And I think that's part of the appeal. StarCraft is, another game that really appeals to people of very high skill who want to put a lot of hours into learning the game. And this is one that's very much one that you can pick up and play that, your friends can enjoy after just a couple hours.
Okay, well, the open beta, of course, is... Oh, go ahead, Joshi.
I'll add that it's just a new, fresh thing. Just the fact that people who couldn't get into WoW, let's say there's like this whole generation of gamers coming in, in the last 4 or 5 years, they're not going to start WoW like Disciple's talking about, but they might also be behind the curve on Hearthstone and StarCraft and all the other Blizzard stuff. So this is like a brand new IP that they can start kind of fresh with everyone. And even gamers who have played League of Legends exclusively for years, like a lot of them are getting burnt out on that game. A lot of people just want something new, and this is a great, like, easy to enter point for that. So I think just the fact that it's fresh, like there's not really another hero-based shooter that's like enormous that everyone's played already and is tired of. So it's good. I think the fact that the game itself is kind of a fresh take is helping it take off in open beta at least.
Has there been any discussion on like 6v6 from like the mass audiences? Have people commented on that? Have you guys seen any chatter about that? Because even just here, like I'm at DreamHack Austin waiting around, and I had a lot of conversations with people that are here for other titles, and Overwatch is a big hot topic with everyone. And a lot of people are actually, saying, 6v6 is kind of weird. It's a little bit chaotic. And I'm just curious if you guys have any strong opinions on that.
I guess I'll start. I think it's an odd number to have. Maybe usually you see a lot of games. I mean, a lot of these competitive games, like League, Counter-Strike, Dota, etc. They all have like a 5v5 format. So adding that extra person on for 6 it can be a little bit weird. But I do think it definitely does work. I think the challenge also comes for sponsors and even for teams that are just looking to go to local events and stuff. Like, I mean, you're at the DreamHack Austin right now, right? So there's they have a tournament going on there as well, like a local tournament. But even for getting 6 players together can be a challenge. Getting 5 players together for a team, even just for online play, sometimes can be a little bit of a challenge for your average player. So I think that while I don't think it makes it too much more difficult, it does make it a little bit more difficult to either go to events or to get 6 people on to play on a nightly basis.
That's true, and a sponsor has to consider, if I sponsor a League team, I'm paying for 5 players and the coach and whoever else. But if I sponsor an Overwatch team, then it's an extra player, that's an extra salary.
Yeah.
But one aspect I like is that it is a little bit of a dilution when it comes to the team comps. And when you have that 6th player, there's just one extra hero that you can use to potentially counter your opposing teams or potentially not be overwhelmed by a certain hero pick or a certain composition. And it does, I think, kind of level the playing field a bit without getting over the top. In TF2, how when you get into those games, you can have a huge number of players. But I feel like 6 is a pretty good number without going overboard. If you're going up to teams of 8, that might feel like way too much. How do you even get 8 computers in a regular room to play together or, lined up on a table? But I feel like 6 is a pretty good number, and it does provide a little bit of an advantage in the game over 5, potentially when you're in those, compositions.
Josh, any thoughts on the topic or?
Well, I mean, 6 versus 6, they've obviously designed the game around it. So like things like ultimates, charge, and spawn distances and times and all that would have to be adjusted for 5v5 game.
Yeah,
5v5 obviously slightly easier logistically during the closed beta. Obviously there's not a lot of high stakes tournaments or anything going on, but there was a lot of team shuffling. I give credit to Reunited as being like the one team that stayed at least 5 out of the original 6 the whole way through. Even they changed, coming back for phase 2, and it's hard to keep 6 people on the same schedule in the same morality, basically. Like what was it, Envious kind of split up because Roz, or someone, I think it was Roz, decided he didn't want to try to make a go of competitive anymore, even after playing with them for a solid month. So it takes time to work these issues out, even among teams of 3 or 4, and now we're up to 6. It's just I give props to anyone who's been able to keep it together this long, and I wish good luck to anyone moving forward. But that's the same for every esport. You got to have that cohesion and dedication to playing full time and all that stuff. Everyone's got to be on the same page, and it's just a little bit harder with 6.
Yeah, it's just one thing, like I said, that a lot of people were talking about last night. Wanted to hear your thoughts. But overall, the open beta back on point seems to have a great reception. Everybody I know, just looking at Facebook, Twitter, whatever, every social media outlet I have accessible to me, the response is insane. Melee Pro players streaming it, Smite Pro players streaming it. Everybody's getting their hands on it. Everybody wants to play Overwatch, and that is a good sign for the game. I think there's about 52,000 people watching on Twitch right now, halfway through the opening week, and that's a lot of people tuned into the game. The number 5 game on Twitch, so that's definitely very good. Apologies if the acoustics in the hotel room aren't good.
They're all right.
Twitch, right? But it is what it is. Well, moving on, we do have another really interesting thing. Now, Coke Esports is an organization. It's Coke, but of their esports division, and they have actually opted to be a sponsor of basically helping promote Overwatch. They announced over on their Twitter account and in this article that Overwatch launch celebrations are coming to cinemas across the U.S. Click here to reserve one in your town. And essentially, they're going to be showing off some of the Overwatch digital shorts that have been made in movie theaters as a cross-promotional event here for the game. I don't know that anything like this has ever been a thing.
I'm trying to think just other video game things. I know Riot has done Worlds viewings in theaters as like esports initiatives. I know obviously there's things like Barcrafts and all that classically just to watch esports events, but to watch just like game propaganda where it's like shorts and behind the scenes and dev stuff, it does seem a lot rarer. The only thing I could think of is like a launch event that took place at multiple cities or something like that. But this is pretty cool. Yeah, I don't believe anything on this scale comes to mind.
I mean, I also haven't seen anything of this scale of really like these cinematics themselves, like regardless of whether or not they're shown at a theater, but just the amount of hype and the amount of effort that Overwatch has put into just creating this story and this excitement over the game, like long before it releases. It gives them the opportunity to rent out these theaters and take it to the next level, and that's something that games didn't really have before. To rent out these theaters to do the cinematic experience, they have to create it first, and that's just not something we've seen on this level.
Now, I believe Coke Esports really only sponsors LCS, right? They sponsor League of Legends, and they've been partners with them for over a year at this point in time. There's been many other large titles that Coke just has never touched. I don't think they've done anything with CSGO. But to come out of the gates when Overwatch hasn't even launched yet, like it's almost like Coke is showing a lot of faith in Overwatch as an esports title. And I'm curious as to how big you think that is. Spo, do you think this could be like a partnership moving forward for the like a Overwatch League in the future?
That's certainly a possibility. I mean, you definitely shouldn't count that out. Blizzard's made a lot of moves in the past 6 to 9 months between acquiring MLG and opening their own really expanding on their own esports department within the company. But I mean, Coke isn't a small time business here, right? It's Coke's pretty big. Just like, I mean, we've seen there's a lot of people, a lot of businesses trying to get in, or businesses that have already gotten a foot in. I mean, Red Bull, for example, would be another one. And this is it's a great opportunity to be able to jump on. I mean, they're getting in at the ground level of a game that is has a lot of potential, and people think it's gonna be really big. So I think it's a definitely a good move on their part.
I mean, I love seeing all of this, widespread advertisement outside of just our small gaming scenes. Like, yeah, we see an advertisement on Twitch, or, we get a pop-up ad because we've been searching for Overwatch. But the fact that, they're coming out with these huge promotions with Coke, or, they did the Taco Bell promotion earlier, which I was kind of surprised at because those are owned by two completely separate companies that are very much competing, Coke and Pepsi. But the fact that, it's becoming so mainstream is something I love. I actually, just walking up here from getting a drink, I heard, I've got you in my sights coming from my roommate's room, and I realized he was playing Overwatch, and it was fun because we've never played the same game before. He's a longtime Destiny player, and just the fact that he's been exposed to this outside of, my like Blizzard kind of back roots, like it's so cool to see that it's just spreading everywhere. I went to the movie theaters with my mother and we saw this ad, and just the fact that Coke is getting in on this, like everyone knows what Coke is. Coke is the most recognized brand in the entire world by far, and of course, not everyone who drinks a Coke is going to know what Overwatch is, but I think it's going to be really, really good for the success of the game.
It's so funny when you put it like that, like your roommate playing the game, because I hadn't looked at that from that point of view necessarily. My little brother has never played a Blizzard game, and he's like freaking out about Overwatch right now, right? He's your standard console, Call of Duty nerd. He loves those games. He really likes shooters in general, but Overwatch has like him just going nuts. Like for the last several months, he's just been complaining about not having a key, and it's cool. It really is exciting.
When I would say when I heard Disciple originally said that he heard the soldier alt from his roommate's room or whatever, I thought it was him actually like saying that line, not actually hearing it from the game.
He's not that into it yet. But yeah, this is something that I want my brother to be able to play. Exactly, like I want all my friends who couldn't get into League to be able to do this, and the fact that Blizzard is going to all these great lengths to make the game accessible and to promote it outside of just the regular old Blizzard MMO scope, like, is so cool to see.
Yeah. Okay, well, the Coke Esports promo, obviously, if you're going to be in theaters and you happen to see a random Overwatch short while you're going to watch Blue's Clues 16 or whatever.
Are they up to 16 now? Huh?
Yes. Glad you stay up to date on your movie trivia.
Yep, definitely. Okay, well, competitive play is our next topic, guys. And the esports discussion will be probably our largest topic of the day. But competitive play, a game mode that they added very late into the closed beta, has actually been taken out. There's been a lot of feedback. Kaplan actually came forward, and Jeff Kaplan actually said, basically, we've received a lot of input on our competitive play system, and we've taken it down to make improvements. It will be re-enabled sometime after launch. So this is kind of where we have to make speculations as to why you think they took it down. Are they just afraid of people being disappointed in it? And let's just start with that. Why do you guys think they took it down?
Just vocal minority pushback, probably from all levels of play. I don't know. I think people are sick of having these rank systems where everyone just pools into the top. Like Heroes, obviously, is. I feel like they're reevaluating all the time because their first esports ranked season was so long. They've had a lot of time to think about how they want to change it. Even like Legend and Hearthstone, people. Sometimes they get upset about everyone just pooling up in Legend and having thousands and thousands of Legends where it's like less meaningful. Or I guess Grandmaster in StarCraft, which is the top 200 on each server, is kind of what people have been asking for the most. But actually it's like Valve's systems for Dota and CSGO and League of Legends where it's like an actual progression system that feels significant. I think that's what most people want, and not a short month-long, I'm going to climb all the way to Master every single month if I just grind it out. I think they want like a truer representation of their rank on their server, even though that is going to be harder to engineer probably. But I think Blizzard wants to try to make it better.
Joshy, what would you want? What is your ideal? Do you like the whole bronze, silver, gold, platinum, diamond, masters, grandmaster?
So StarCraft is kind of the only rank parallel that I have a lot of experience with. Like Hearthstone, I did grind to Legend, and then the month reset, and I was like, okay, I'm not Legend anymore, but I have the card back, so I have no reason to ever get Legend again.
True.
So that was the flaw with that system for me. Warcraft 3 actually is the ranking system that I load because it was just your true rank, and it literally you could just check online anytime to see your true rank against everybody on your server, and it had like an actual MMR number. You know, I'd be rated 2237. I don't even remember, it was so long ago what the scale was, but basically I could know if I was in the top 200, I could just search and find myself exact ranking. I liked that the most. But StarCraft was okay too, because playing, you know, getting placed into something like a gold or a diamond or platinum, you have clear goals, you have clear ranks, you have people in your division that you're getting matched against, and you know this guy is above me, if I beat him I'm going to go past him, stuff like that. Short-term goals are nice, and their seasons are a little bit longer so that you have long-term goals as well. So I would be okay with a StarCraft-like system more so than the one that we had already.
Spo, how about you?
That's interesting. I was just saying, that's interesting that Joshi brought up the Warcraft 3 system. I didn't think about that one. I had a few in mind, but that's interesting. Do they actually have? I don't remember if they actually had MMR for that, or if it was just.
Maybe,
I remember
maybe
they
it
had
wasn't
levels.
visible. Maybe it wasn't
They had
visible.
levels. I know. Next to they have like your icon, and they have your level or whatever, like level 30.
Yeah, but level was just
and it went
playing.
up. Yeah. No, actually, no. I don't think it was. Level was. I think
sure.
was based on the ammo. Was based on your rating, wasn't it?
Oh, yes, you're right. You got icons based on how many games you played. You got level based on how well you played. You're right.
But the system is pretty nice. And about the whole bronze to whatever color metal or type of metal you want to call, I kind of like the system. It's kind of, I mean, I don't necessarily think Blizzard has to have that specific type, or sorry, Overwatch has to have that specific type of system in Overwatch, but I didn't really like the system they had then before, and I feel like because the terminology for it it seemed very, they all kind of seemed the same, like advanced, expert, master. It's like, okay, this is all, what does this mean? Like I guess the bronze, silver, gold kind of had like a progression that kind of made sense. This one didn't really make as much sense, and I think that while they don't have to go with a bronze, silver, gold type system, I do think that the old one was just too vague, really. I think they could do a lot better.
Disciple?
Yeah, I agree with that as well. I felt like it was a little haphazard. What I was especially surprised about, and something we haven't really touched on, but was the fact that they adopted a dynamic queue system into it. After this is something that, I mean, you guys know, coming from Heroes of the Storm, was not one of the favorite features of the Heroes of the Storm ranked system.
Right.
And eventually Blizzard realized their mistake and they removed it, correct?
Yeah.
I don't play a lot of Heroes of the Storm, but I thought I knew that. And then when League implemented dynamic queue, that has been probably the most complained about change that has ever happened in the game. And so the fact that they've now brought that into Overwatch, I'm wondering if part of that was to make the ranked system maybe a little bit more accessible to people in the closed beta, since there were so few people, and a way to potentially encourage people to, try and queue up with their friends, just so they could kind of work out some of the kinks in the system. But it is something that I would be very surprised to see actually make it into the live game, at least as it is, without having some sort of limit on how many people you can queue with. But like Spo said, the current system just seemed a little bit confusing. Like, we're so used to coming from League, which has been the most played game in such a long time, where Challenger means you're the best, and then suddenly Challenger is the worst tier, and that just seems like a little ignorant of like who your audience is and what games are coming from, and it's just it's needlessly confusing when you could create your own system which is unique from others, or when you could use a more standard system that you even use in your other games like bronze and silver and gold. Maybe they want to be more unique, but putting Challenger as the last queue just did not make a lot of sense to me, and I think it confused a lot of people pretty needlessly.
Okay.
To be fair, though, the Challenger was actually the worst rank on WoW Arena that you could get at the end of the season. So there's a little bit of I guess I was never allowed up there. So I guess that could be a carryover from that.
Yeah, League broke the term.
Yeah. Oops, guilty.
Okay.
Just like MOBA.
Well, let's talk a little bit more about season duration. Hearthstone, once a month. I think it works for Hearthstone, even though it is still grindy. But Hearthstone is a kind of single player game where you just kind of do your thing. But for Overwatch, a month feels like no time. Like in StarCraft 2, there are aren't seasons like 12 weeks, Joshy?
Yeah, classically, 12 weeks. I was gonna say 3 months. Same deal.
Yeah. So, Disciple, where do you think it should land? I mean, actually, I don't play League a lot myself, but where does League actually sit for a season?
So a season is a year, just a straight year.
Okay.
There's a reset once every year, and it does honestly feel a little long. But the league system is much longer. It takes a lot longer to progress through than another season. Like in Hearthstone, resets every month, but you can get to Legend in Hearthstone in a day if you play well enough. And that would just be impossible for you to do in League of Legends, especially if you didn't, have a huge MMR coming in and go on, tremendous win streaks. Although there isn't really a win streak system, sometimes you can, skip a division if you're just so far ahead. But I feel like in Overwatch, they implemented the win streak, so you get the bonus points if you win games in a row, and that was obviously to help you try and progress through a little bit faster, which I think in their minds was going to make the monthly grind a lot less of a chore. But just the fact that you can have an off game and you can end that win streak, or you can go on a lose streak sometimes just as easily as a win streak, and it can seem like it's for no reason. It did really feel very, very grindy, and the fact that so many people were just having to play like hundreds and hundreds of games to get to heroic. I don't know what the lowest number of games taken to get to heroic were, but I saw almost everyone I knew, played like 150 to 200 games, and that was just enough to get them the Masters. And that's just too many for, not even a casual player, but just someone who wants to get to heroic and has the skill to, but just can't play for hours and hours every single day. And I would like to see this be less of a grind, and I think part of that would be extending it to, I like a quarterly system. So every 3 months, the ladder resets. It does keep things fresh, and it does force you to continue reaching for that goal, but every single month feels a bit too much.
Spo?
Yeah, I agree with pretty much what Disciple said. Having a quarterly system would be great. 6 months could even be in the picture as well, but I think a quarterly system is great. They had a 6 month system when they did WoW. That was the 6 months was a season, and I felt like the first couple months seemed like it was really competitive. Then things started to drop off as people seemed to make a lot less progress, or they seemed to find their true MMR. It seemed like there was a lot less activity than there was at the beginning of the season. Beginning of the season, there's more short-term goals. With World of Warcraft, they had it so where you'd be acquiring pieces of gear based on you get like points based on your rank, and then you could use that to acquire some of the new season gear. So there were short-term goals for players there that they could go for. But even then, it was also there was also a point in time where you could where you were actually getting rating, because everybody started at the beginning of every seed. Everybody starts off at 1500, and then at least that's how it used to be. And you're actually, no, you did not start at 1500. I think you started at 0. But anyway, you'd be making progress through the season. You'd be playing lots of games, find your team's true MMR. But it seemed like teams kind of petered out after a while. They kind of wanted to wait for the new season. So I think a 3 month season might be a lot better. So people have some time to get to, seem they can get to the heroic rank or whatever they're going to call it in Overwatch. Give teams and players time to get there. Don't make it a huge grind. Be like, oh my god, I have to play so many games in this month. Because there are even some people complaining in Hearthstone that they can't even get to the legend rank not because they're incapable of actually getting there. Because they're not skilled enough to get there, but because it requires X amount of games to get there. So make it less of a grind, but maybe have something maybe have some more short-term goals for players who maybe have already or just so that they don't stop playing, I guess.
Right.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, you can set even a calculation. You could say, all right, like this is how many games it's going to take to get to heroic if you have an 80% win rate. And, there are some players who are going to be able to win that many games, and those people deserve to be there, and they're going to be able to grind that out every single month because they can get it in just a few days. But then you take someone and, you can play to heroic with a 55% win rate. And if you have a positive win rate going all the way up there, even when you're going through Masters and past, then you obviously deserve heroic. But once you get to that rate, then the number of games increases by so much more that you need to get to, because then you don't rely as much on win streaks in the earlier ranks, and there's just so many times when you're falling back that it extends it by such a large period. So you have these people with huge win streaks that can get there very quickly, and just huge win rates. But when you go down, when you're closer to the 55 to 65 rate, then that's where it just becomes an enormous grind. And I feel like we should reward those players who play consistently well, even if they don't go on insane win streaks, because, you know, as long as you can continue to win at a positive rate at the level you're at, then you deserve to climb.
Yep.
So Josh, you pretty much agree with like the 3-month system? You think that's probably about ideal, like the 12 weeks? Yeah.
Yeah, I think 3 months feels good if you are unhappy with your placement or find that you're hitting a wall or something like that, and then you know that it's, you know, only a month away until the next reset, and then you can do better in your placements or whatever. So you do still have your short-term goals and your long-term goals. It's weird when, even in Hearthstone, when it's like, or how good are you at Hearthstone? It's like, oh, well, I hit rank 5 sometimes. I hit legend once. I hit 15 normally. Like, it's not an easy way to describe your actual skill level, because it's like, well, how much did you play that month? I have no idea. So I feel like StarCraft is pretty solid, because it does, when you're doing your placement matches in the new season, it knows where you should be starting out. Yeah, right. Exactly. So so if you do rank up in placements, it is still like an accomplishment, and you know, okay, now I've got a new bracket. I've leveled up. So there's small victories and large victories in that rank system. So I'm fine with 3 months. Yeah. Also, you got to think about like the longevity of your game. League seasons are a year long. Do people quit halfway through a season because they just get bored of the game? Like, there is no, they don't know how high they could have ranked up. I don't know. Maybe you need that carrot dangling every shorter time period so that people actually do want to hop back in. Like Diablo seasons, for example. Diablo seasons, I'll play the first couple weeks and then get bored again. But a new season comes out, I usually do make, you know, a new hardcore character at least. So just keeping it fresh. I think 3 months is solid.
All right, so I think everyone agrees that's like 3 months quarterly seasons is, you know, the money spot as far as we're all concerned. But let's talk about like the transitional period. Yes, we think, yes, your MMR should stay as you go into the new season. You should remember what you placed at the end of season 1, and then season 2 put you around, you know, all those placement matches around your similar skill level and the chance to go up or down. But season rewards is something that people love in Hearthstone, right? Season rewards, you get the card back. That's kind of like, it's simple enough, right? If you hit legend, you get the legend card back, but everyone can pretty much earn that the monthly card back in Hearthstone. But I feel that there's a really big opportunity to do awesome things in Overwatch with the kind of season rewards. And I feel like there's kind of an unexplored territory. So sprays could be a cool thing, maybe skins, but do you guys like the idea of restricting some of those season rewards to the highest? Because if you go back to World of Warcraft, I mean, Spo, you're very familiar with this, some of those badass mounts that you could get, if you were like a top-level player in Arena, you had mounts that no one else had access to. You had to grind and be talented to get them. And that's something that I always found to be incredibly appealing.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think that if I remember correctly, too, I believe Blizzard was planning on doing specific portraits, based on people's standing and during this in competitive play. So I think they're experimenting with that. I wouldn't be surprised to see special icons and things like that too. As for like being number one on competitive ladder or maybe they'll have like a. Because Overwatch, World of Warcraft, you had mentioned, had also had a title too. So the number one team on the ladder in your battle group had a
special title.
You got a special title, and that changed throughout season to season. So there were very few people with titles. Like the 1% of the 1% had that title. So maybe they'll do something like that too. But I do think there should be some type of reward system, cosmetic and otherwise.
I mean, I kind of like having that participation award almost that 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 Hearthstone has, because you do have to play at least a decent number of games to get the card back. You have to get to rank 15 to receive it, and although that's not very high, it
20.
still does require you to play.
Is it
rank
ranked?
20. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah,
My
so
bad.
it's like 3 games.
Oh, right. So rank 15. So it's basically like getting to advanced in Overwatch,
Sure.
getting out of challenger. And so, but what I liked is that it does force people to at least play some ranked games every single season to unlock it. And it didn't really ever feel like a grind, because any player who is, worth their salt can do it easily. And players who are still very, very new to the game can, they could construct a new deck and they could do it pretty easily. And I feel like in Overwatch, they could hop in, they could play a little bit of ranked, and they could unlock it. So I actually liked having that kind of very easy to reach level, but I think a much higher level like they had in WoW, where you can unlock these special titles, or I assume in the game it would be, maybe special sprays or icons. I would like to see that to reward some of the very top level of performance, because those rewards are something that have been kind of missing, I feel like, in Blizzard competitive play as of late. Like you don't really feel that in Hearthstone. In Hearthstone, you only get it when on the website they announce, the top 100 legend, and they assign you your HCT points. But there's nothing in game, there's no difference between legend rank 3000 and legend rank 1 when you're actually in the game itself. And I think that's something that this game would benefit from a lot.
Yeah, is there anywhere within the client to view a leaderboard? I don't think there is.
No.
Oh no.
So the last game that Blizzard released that had an actual in-game leaderboard was Star 2, right?
Heroes has what? Heroes shows every stat and highlights the top gunners.
And Heroes of the Storm?
Are you talking about just hitting tab and looking at a leaderboard, or are you talking
I'm
about
sorry,
an overall?
like a leaderboard, of the ladder, of the ladder.
Oh, I see. Yeah, so Star 2, I guess, yeah.
Oh.
That you can actually look and see where other people are rated, yeah.
How critical do you think that is for something like competitive play? Because you're talking about Grandmaster, and I think you were saying back in the Warcraft days, you could go to a website and look at battle.net and look at everyone's ranking.
They had it on Battle.net.
And that's cool. And War 3 was also made 20 years ago, or I don't know, however many years ago. But modern day, you think it would be client based, right? Like, does League and Dota, do they have it client side?
Oh, Diablo 3 has a ladder as well. That's important. League does have a client side. You can see the entire challenger tier and how they all rank against each other, and that's actually something that I really think brings a lot to the challenger game in League.
Okay.
Yeah, I think just knowing where you stand against others is valuable, and it's always fun to for like World of Warcraft arenas. Again, we keep drawing that parallel, but basically anytime you queue into a WoW arena and you see the team name of the other guys, you can actually just go online quickly and search for them and see like what comp they run and like how their win rates are and who you should focus, and all that stuff was right there for you. So I used to use it for competitive advantage for sure, or at least some added information.
So not to defraudulate myself, or fraudulate myself, if that's a word. I've been playing a lot of Clash Royale when I've been traveling the last couple of weeks, and one of the things I love the most
mobile game
is it's a mobile. It's fun, okay? It's fun, but there's a lot of cool features that are actually amazing for esports. You can actually just look at a top ranked ladder game, and I could literally just cast top ranked matches between people globally whenever I want, right through the game, if I wanted to be a caster for the game. I'm not saying I'm doing that.
But, we know where your heart lies.
Yeah.
But I'm in a clan. I'm actually in an ESL clan, and I can just look at the rank of everyone in the clan. It's just a true rating. It's literally like Warcraft, or you earn basically points. So it's just your ranking goes up. So if I lose a game, I'll drop like 30 points. If I win a game, I'll earn like 30 points, and that's my ranking. So top ranked players, they're like a 4K trophy player. I'm like a 2K trophy player, but I know that I can just go to the clan and I can look to see where I sit in the clan. And it's like, okay, I just won 2 games. Now I'm the third highest in the entire clan, and that feels cool. That's like my progression. It's my daily reward I want to pass Caleris right now. That is my entire goal. I'm rooming with him here in DreamHack Austin, and he's not here at the moment, but I will pass him.
He's playing Clash Royale.
Yeah, he probably is.
The show.
Damn it. But it's really nice. It really is nice having that. Like you said, short-term goals are really critical, I think, Spo. But okay.
Agreed.
Yeah. Any other final thoughts on just competitive play and Obviously, it's down until the game relaunches. But how long do you think they should just try to get it back as soon as possible? You guys think that's a critical element to this game early on in its launch?
Yeah, they should have something at release. Like, even if it was the old system, if they're not done yet, give us at least something to cut our teeth on. Because, like, the difference, the short time that we did have competitive play, the difference between that and quick play was not enormous, but it was there. Like, people actually switch roles and all that, and it's nice. It's like a nice medium. It's a nice in between for people who want to try hard but don't have their own team to play with. Quick play can be infuriating for those people. So I hope they do have. I hope they do have the pseudo important competitive queue at least in some capacity at release.
I don't think having on release matters as much, but I do think there is a window of opportunity or some kind of timing window at which it should be in the game. I feel like, and I've played many different genres of games, but I've noticed this in MMOs the most, where it seems like players will give a game like somewhere, but usually about 1.5 to 3 months, and if they're not satisfied with the game, they move on to something else, and they never look back. And I feel like that could be one of the same things here for Overwatch as well. It's I guess because people find out that, hey, this isn't a game that I want to play anymore. The new and shiny feel to a game wears off, and then you kind of have to decide, okay, is this a game I actually enjoy playing, or is this something that, if there's no competitive play in the game and it's just quick play and nothing else, is this, is this still what I want out of the game? Some people like the competitive aspect of the game. Maybe they like the game, but maybe they still like the competitive aspect of the game. For me, I guess I can draw a parallel to this was Guild Wars 2. On release, Guild Wars 2 had a lot of aspirations for esports and competitive play, and all they had on release was a public tournament system. Essentially, there's no MMR, no ladders, there's a lot of things missing, and it really disappointed a lot of and pretty much the competitive community just straight up left after about 2-3 months. So that's not something I'd want to see in this game. I'm not saying that would happen if they don't have a ranked, but I do think there is some window of 1 to 2 months at which they should have something in.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I agree with that window, essentially. But what strikes me as weird is, so obviously they didn't have ranked for the open beta, and that just seems to be very clear to me. Like, these players are only going to be playing for a month. Their progress was reset before, and they'll be reset after. You're not going to gain anything by having these players try to level up to 25 in a week and then try playing, ranked and getting through. I think they just want to leave it off while they tweak it. I would be very surprised if it didn't launch with a competitive format, though, because they've had a very, 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 very long time to work on it. And they've had all of the time since closed beta launched. They've had all the time that the previous rank system was there. They've had all of this time that the beta was gone. They have this open beta week, and then they have the next, 3 weeks until the game actually launches. And if it actually is going to take them, a month to make this system perfect and prepare it for launch, then I would say, yeah, take it. It would be better to, I think, wait for a perfect system than to launch with a flawed one. But I'd be very surprised if they didn't manage to have a good system in place by launch because of all of the time and all of the feedback they've been able to put into this.
Well, Jeff Kaplan posted like 3 or 4 days ago on the forum saying that it will relaunch after release. He pretty much said, don't expect it with release.
Oh, I guess I interpreted that as it will be at some point after the release, but that, it could be like on release.
I see.
I guess.
Yeah. I don't know. The way I read it seemed like it's pretty unlikely that it's going to be, something available for play right out of the gates.
Why? Like, why is it taking them this long now?
Well, they're obviously doing
that's what I was saying. I want at least the old system. I want something.
Like why is it taking them so long to figure this out? Because it's not just been, a month. It's been
I think
it's hard, dude.
I don't know. I think they just don't want to, release something bad and have somebody go out and play it. Whereas if they delay it, they can release something polished that they think is going to be perfect. And then it's almost like a feature added into the game. So it's almost like, hey, a month after the game's launched, boom, here's a new mode. Go play it, right? That's kind of, it almost like just, it's another push.
That's true, but it's at the expense of players who got to level 25, like looked for that rank. They got tired of playing quick play. They wanted to play competitively, and they stopped playing the game because they can't play competitively. And players who just never picked it up because they see Overwatch, they think it looks cool. They say, "What's a competitive like?" Because I'm a very competitive gamer.
Yeah.
They see there isn't one, and they just don't pick it up at the start. And I feel like that's a very big loss to just kind of lose those two groups of people potentially.
This is like a whole nother argument. Like I almost think even if it's not there in launch, it has to be there and grayed out and say coming soon or something, just to tell the player that like this is like a feature that's going to be there, like just inherently. A lot of people will argue that that's a really bad UI UX thing to do, but personally, I think by giving
They did it for Hearthstone forever.
They definitely did it for
That
Hearthstone.
last bar was just covered up forever and ever, and then eventually it rolled over into Tavern Brawl.
Tavern Brawl. Uh-huh.
That's true. I forgot about that.
They could do it.
So I hope they do something like that. But all right, well, we'll transition directly into esports discussion, guys, where we're going to talk about pretty much all of the news that's happened in the last week and what's coming up in the next few days for esports. We can just open up and talk about one of the new organizations that has stepped on in. Rogue has picked up a team. And, also, I just want to point out the fact that not only has Rogue picked up a team, but ESPN is very much on point with their coverage of this. We actually have an article from ESPN, making this announcement.
I think they did go to ESPN to say, do you want to break this news for us? Because that is, obviously a really cool place to break your esports news would be on ESPN.
Yeah. Right.
So it's pretty cool. Jacob Wolf is actually a good writer for ESPN too, who was esports endemic before going to ESPN. But you can see all the info there. It does read a little bit like a press release where it's like these are all the players. AKM and Wins are brothers who actually played Shoot Mania together and won IPL 5 with Sturmy. So they're back and playing Overwatch now with Unko and IDDQD, Reinforce, and Tavik. And Tavik is being lauded as one of the strongest offense players throughout all of closed beta. So this team, they did beat Reunited like in their debut tournament. So they already have proven themselves to be a very strong, like cohesive team.
I know all these guys have been like so him about Overwatch ever since they announced it too. Like Reinforce in particular, I worked with him in Europe at Heroes event, and he was our observer, and he's just like super passionate about shooters in general, but Overwatch, and you can tell like how hard he's dedicated. This guy lives on the game, much like a lot of our pro players. So it's exciting to see them actually get that opportunity, because he's obviously that's every pro player's dream to get picked up by an organization and given this opportunity. So very cool to see so much support before the game's even launched.
Oh yeah, and this is a really, really solid lineup. At least let me see the lineup once again, because I know I'm very familiar with Tavik. But I was actually kind of surprised because it was Tavik and Rafflegator who were before on IDDQD previously, and then they left along with Mendoksai to form their own squad, which then later ended up becoming Rogue. And it's surprising because they were by far the best team that was in the closed beta. They beat every single team that they played, and they were completely undefeated competitively. And when it finally got to the point where they felt like they might be defeated competitively, they realized that they just needed to change things up. They needed a new team. They needed to be better. And so, this is a team that will change anything they need to be the best. They will drop players, they will leave teams, they will work with anyone they need to and refuse to work with anyone that they can't work with to be the best possible team. And I think that is, the aggressive kind of change that you really need to succeed early on in an esport, and then to stay relevant in it. And I think that this is a team to really look out for. Obviously there are so many players who haven't gotten a chance to play ranked yet, but I think that Rogue has a lot of potential with these players and with the mindset they have going into it.
A lot of potential to misspell the team name too.
Rouge.
Yeah,
Team Rouge, baby.
Team Rouge. Or maybe that can be their. Maybe they can have a girls team as well, and then they can. Team Rouge sponsored by Maybelline.
Yeah.
One interesting thing as well is that the player IDDQD, has absolutely no relation at all to the previous team and the team name IDDQD. And apparently, it was a huge coincidence that they chose that same initialism that this player has, and that player has been using that nickname for
It's
like
so
years and
random,
years and years.
man.
It's the Doom God code. So it's like it would be the same as the Contra code or
That
like
makes
something
more sense.
that everyone
okay,
FPS
okay.
gamers know it at least.
That was something that I hadn't heard before. Okay, but he didn't have any affiliation with that before. But they became friends with him and eventually picked him up as a player.
If it was just a random like 5 letters like that, that would be insanely coincidental.
That's what I was thinking. That's what I thought. But fortunately, I was incorrect, and the universe can go back to normal.
So we'll just we'll finish that note with a segue into the tournament stuff. Basically, Rogue is playing their first match as Rogue tomorrow, and I'm going to be casting it. So actually, 23 hours from now, same start time as TownHall was today, but tomorrow. You can check out my Twitter for more details on that. But basically, they're playing against Reunited again. So it's like actually the third time that they've butted heads in like 3 weeks, even with a week off. So should be a good match tomorrow. Just King of the Watch again. Myself and Jorosar will be casting that. It's a best of 7 series between those two teams.
Yeah, there's a surprising amount of esports content getting crammed into this open beta, right? 1 week of opportunity. Well, I mean, everybody, and it's like actually pretty well balanced. So, yes, we have King of the Watch happening. Josh is going to be casting that. There's a Seltzer and a few others from Twitch have actually organized an event here at DreamHack. I think it's just pretty much anyone can play. If you're at DreamHack Austin, you can sign up for this event. It's happening on Friday, and that's going to be streamed on twitch.tv/Seltzer Please. I don't know if that has a name. It must, obviously, but...
it's, they named it. I don't remember exactly what, but it's just like Overcharge or something.
Yeah, it's like a BYOC though, right?
Yeah,
it's BYOC here at DreamHack Austin where you can play Overwatch here, which is just going to be super fun. DreamHack Austin is completely sold out for this weekend, so it should be really fun. I mean, everybody's just starting to land last night and today. And then we have, of course, the Overkill Finals happening this weekend. So this is probably one of the, this is probably the biggest prize pool we're going to see for some time. I could be proven wrong, of course, but this is definitely the largest tournament of the entire beta process, and it's all going to be finalized this weekend before beta goes down. So that's going to be cast by, I believe it's ZP Hexagrams, and it also has Slasher listed on the Liquipedia.
Yeah, sure. Maybe they're rotating him in, doing some analysis.
Oh. Interesting to see Slasher coming out of the shadows into the Overwatch.
He's cast
realm.
A couple things. Yeah, he's been absent from Twitter for 3 months now.
Well,
but he's in the Overwatch Discords all the time, every day.
I did my detective work. His Twitter used to say Bristol and ESPN and all this other stuff. It doesn't say that anymore, so I'm curious what's going on.
Oh no,
I miss Slasher. I haven't talked to him in a long time. So, Slasher, I love you, buddy. You're out there somewhere.
We know he's watching.
Oh, is he?
No,
no. I'm I'm sure.
If he's here, then I'll definitely have to meet up with him.
Sure, he's just a ghost in the rafters.
Well, yeah, pretty much. Okay, well, there's definitely one more thing I'm forgetting here.
Take TV tournament?
Yes. Oh. Yes. So Take TV is basically organizing the first LAN event, at least
after
launch.
Release.
Yeah, post release, and it's going to be global. It's called the
Takeover.
Yep. God, there's so many.
You have to have over or watch in your title.
All these clever names.
It is a good name, all things considered, with Take TV. So, it's going to be the 27th through 29th of May. Have they announced the teams yet, though?
No, because it's basically they need teams to get in touch with them for who can actually go to the event, because it probably will require lots of money for a North American team to go over there. Otherwise, Spo, do you want to talk toward that? I know that you had some thoughts on it.
Yeah. When I first heard it was announced, I was pretty excited. I've seen the Take TV stuff in the past with like Hearthstone and stuff and StarCraft 2, and they even have sometimes they have little Warcraft 3 matches with some of the old Warcraft 3 pros and stuff like that. So there's a lot of cool things that they have there, and I was pretty excited to see that Overwatch was coming, but I was also pretty disappointing that the prize pool was negligible. I think it's okay that there are smaller tournaments. Obviously, that's great. There's tournaments and stuff, but if you're expecting, top teams from around the world to come to an event that's only a $5,000 prize pool, I mean that's what, $2,500 for first place. I don't know if you're gonna be getting too many top teams going there. Yeah, and I just think that's a little bit insulting to players. I'm not saying that there should be some 100K prize pool or something. I think that's not the direction to go either. Even if they had the money for that. But I do think that, I mean, the other two tournaments there, I think that I know about, the Hearthstone and StarCraft 2 both have 20,000 prize pools each, and that's 10,000 winner team. And that's those are,
well, they get those sponsorships
format. Yeah, it's a 1v1 format as well. But you have, like you said, like we were mentioning before, Overwatch was a 6-for-6 format, right? That's one more than a lot of these traditional 5v5 formats that we've seen and big team games. And when you have 6 players on a team, it's how you can even cover the costs for actually attending these tournaments. Now, I think TakeTV said, I think there is rumors that they are helping some teams, but I'm not sure exactly what that help entails. But still, you're thinking of the travel costs, hotels, food, that kind of stuff. Maybe food is maybe they have catering there. I'm not sure, but it's really unless they're local. I wouldn't expect any teams out too far outside to actually show up.
But I do hope some good European teams do make the trip, and we have like a really good first like live event where everybody's friendly, and like I know that the home story cups and stuff like that in the past are all very like lighthearted. They play poker and get drunk and have like off-stream shenanigans and stuff like that. Yeah. So it should be a good, almost like a mixer or like a street fair or something like that, where you meet your neighbors. You're just like getting together for the first time and like, all right, we're about to go kill each other for like the next X number of years. So let's be friends first. I think it's cool. I like that style of event.
It's
They told me.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Sorry.
You first.
Okay. I was because I had a little conversation with them via Twitter, and they said if I didn't like their $5,000 prize pool, I could host my own tournament. So maybe I should do that.
The $20,000 prize pool.
I'm announcing it now.
With blackjack and hookers.
Yeah, I'll host my own tournament in my basement. Anybody can come. Prize pool is a Happy Meal. Toys not included.
Oh, damn.
Will you help me get there?
But they gotta fly their own way out to your basement, right?
Of course.
We run into the same problem again and again and again.
Oh no.
No, but
tournament organization is so difficult.
Cycle.
Really though, if you think back to the earliest days of Take TV, like with early StarCraft 2, those are some of the most memorable and fun events ever, and they're very good for community building. They help really put a name to a face. They help really just drive this whole community feel. When a lot of online games are just a dude sitting at home behind a computer screen, you don't get that as often. Yes, LAN events do capture the sporty elements and show these guys on stage and look really awesome, but this is behind the scenes and fun and really just kind of like awesome. So I'm excited for this. I think it could be a great resource because I love like Smash the Summit. It's just a super fun event for Smash. Like all Smash broadcasts are great in my opinion, but Smash the Summit in particular feels very grassroots, and it's professional while still feeling community raised almost.
Right.
But,
I think did we talk about the Reddit tournament?
Oh, we did not.
Go ahead.
We did not.
Okay, so that's actually something that I'm going to be working on, and so there is a huge community, essentially like solo queue tournament going on this weekend, tomorrow and Saturday, both NA and EU, and there are, I believe, some games that are going to be like mixed, but essentially it was for all the players who are not going to be playing in all of these awesome competitive tournaments with prize pools, and it's mostly marketed towards people who are just picking up the game, or for people who have played a lot and just haven't played in a competitive team. So I predict there will be some good players, some good teams, but it's going to be pretty big, and I think it's going to be cast across a few channels. I'm expecting most of the information will be available on Reddit kind of that day of, but I'm going to be producing one of the streams along with JD Ambrose and Arms Race. And I'm really excited because I think it's the biggest scope of any of the tournaments that have been hosted so far. I think it's going to have the highest number of teams going into it. I'm not sure of the exact number right now, but there are some pretty huge brackets on NA and EU. And it's been a monster to try and organize. So I think that means that it should have a pretty cool execution because of all the work that's been going in from so many different parties.
Yeah, probably will be the largest team sign up because the Ghost of Gamers have all been limited to 16 just through time constraints and stuff like that. So I hope that there is like a really large turnout. It's kind of short for people to like make friends and make a squad, but
Right.
Obviously they're using Reddit to meet each other and stuff like that too. So could have quite a lot of teams. Could be really cool.
Sounds chaotic
Sorry,
and awesome.
sorry, I couldn't find the Reddit posts myself, but I'm sure there will be one tomorrow.
Yeah, it's not stickied yet.
I
mean,
could see you looking for that.
the nature of Reddit itself, it's probably not going to be posted till day of. That's just kind of the nature of Reddit. So do you know where you can sign up though if you wanted to play in it?
Give me a minute. I'll find it and I'll throw you the link.
Okay. Well,
Cool.
We'll try to get that link for you, and we'll
Sorry.
include that in the info, assuming we find it. So that if anybody's looking to play in that event tomorrow, we'll give you all the deets, because that does sound like a lot of fun. If you got looking for something to do on your weekend, that's definitely an awesome opportunity. So yeah, this is pretty much it though. I mean, a few days of Overwatch. We've got the beta ending on what, the 12th? No, before the 10th. Oh. And then it's like the 10th through the 23rd or 11th through 23rd with nothing
Dead
happening.
zone.
What do we do? Joshy,
Yeah, I'm
you
gonna go to Grand Prix Los Angeles Magic the Gathering tournament if anyone would like to meet me there.
nice.
Interesting.
But other than that, crying and sleeping and I guess catching up on television. I forgot television existed during that long closed beta stretch.
Yeah,
Yeah, you can
I'm-
cry into your Tracer waifu pillow. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I need my May pillow to arrive. It's May now.
Oh
Bay is Bay.
It's gonna be May.
no, May is not bad. Tracer for life, boys. All right. So Spo, I know you're working on your big montage. That's gonna keep you busy. Disciple, how you gonna stay occupied?
I make a lot of videos all the time. If you guys have ever seen the Gaming Curious Overwatch channel,
Yep.
make a lot of kind of compilation type videos for that. We might be putting out some more songs. We might start working on our next animation. And then I also usually record a lot of my own footage, kind of like, Spo's doing for his montage, but I do, some commentaries or some mini compilations for my own channel. And so, playing a lot right now, recording it all, and then just using that to spread out content along the next 2 weeks is probably how I'm going to plan my next month.
Very cool. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right, well, guys,
Yeah.
that's pretty much our topics for the show. I mean, obviously, open beta. Everybody's having a lot of fun. If you're watching the show right now and you haven't played the game, first off, why are you watching? Second off, start playing. The game is phenomenal. It's super fun, and I implore everyone to give it a try. And the great thing about Overwatch is it's a rare treat for Blizzard to release a title on console. So if you aren't a PC gamer, you don't have a PC that's up to snuff, you're a plebby Mac user, sorry, then you can still play it on Xbox or PlayStation, and I'm sure it's plenty of fun. I haven't tried it myself with a controller, but I'm sure it's great.
I'm sure you can play Winston at least, right?
Probably.
So BM, I love Winston. Alrighty. Well, on that note, let's transition over to shoutouts, and starting with you, Disciple.
Oh, sure. I guess would just like to shout out my own Twitter and Facebook and YouTube and Twitch. It's all at Disciple Games. So if you guys want to see any of that, but I also have got to shout out my man Jeremy, who's in chat in our channel, Gaming Curious Overwatch. He is a huge League of Legends YouTuber that is doing very well and decided to branch out into Overwatch as well. So we created this new channel, and if you guys want to check that out. It doesn't have an easy YouTube link, but if you look up Gaming Heroes Overwatch, there's amazing montages, songs, animations, community compilations. And if you guys want to be in any of those, go ahead and send in your clips to gcoverwatch@gmail.com.
Cool.
Very
That's my plug.
Spo.
All right. You can see me. You can see me on Twitch at Spo TV. I'm also on YouTube and Twitter as Team Spo. On the YouTube, I actually have been uploading recently some of the old scrim VODs from closed beta versus some of the top teams and stuff. So if you guys are interested in seeing any of those, if you're doing the Reddit tournaments or anything, maybe you can get kind of an idea of how some of the things work.
Do they have voice comms? Is it like a?
Oh yeah, it's the actual raw footage. So there's all the voice comms,
That's awesome.
everything, from start to finish. And some of the matches are some of the tournament pods too. So I recognize some of them.
I am gonna check that out right after this. Joshy.
Cool. Yeah, I'm just streaming every night still. I usually start around 7 or 8 p.m. Pacific time and stream until 3 or 4 a.m. Pacific time. I get that good nocturnal crowd and all the Europeans waking up. But I've been uploading videos, highlights, stuff like that from the stream to my YouTube as well. Everything is just Ask Joshy, like you see on the screen. My birthday is the day after release. I don't know if we're going to do a show next week, so I might as well say it now. But I do plan on doing some kind of birthday stream celebration of sorts on May 25th, which is my actual birthday, the day after release. So hopefully all the server issues and all the craziness will be over in time for that. So if I don't see you guys again until then, May 25th is my birthday, and we'll do a stream for that. And otherwise, that's it for a couple weeks, I think. Like, I'm scared of what's coming ahead, but I know that there's a light at the end of the tunnel on May 24th.
And you can, maybe you can do a drinking game or something like that. Every time someone donates, instead of Ask Joshy, you become trash to Joshy.
Oh, yeah. Flask Joshy.
Yeah,
Nice.
It's a lot of opportunity here.
All right. Well, like Joshy said, we don't really know the state of the show. If there's content, if there's news, if there's things to cover, we will very much be having episodes of TownHall Overwatch. But with the game going down, it is to be determined what there would be to discuss. So we're going to play that by ear. Just keep your eyes on the TownHall Overwatch Twitter account. It says at TownHallOW. You can see it in the top of the screen. Be sure to follow that. There's all the news will be posted there. Additionally, I am in the planning process of at least 2 tournaments for Overwatch. I'll be announcing soon, working with sponsors, getting a lot of stuff set in stone for around the launch phase, and we'll be producing and doing all of that on potentially my channel, potentially on a brand new channel, because there's a big project in the works. So this is kind of an announcement of an announcement. I like to do that. I'm sorry. But on top of that, I'm at DreamHack Austin all weekend. I'll be commentating Heroes of the Storm on Friday and Saturday. So if you want to swing by, you want to say hi, you're in town, please do that. It's going to be an awesome event. And Sunday, I'm going to be hanging out all day, largely in the Super Smash Bros. Melee area, because that is where I started as a Smash player. I'm going to be going, seeing all my buddies, watching the event. It should be a lot of fun. So if you're at DreamHack, please do say hi. It's going to be a fun weekend. Disciple, thanks so much for coming on, and Spo and Josh.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it was glorious. Have fun with the open beta without me. I'm so sad that it's like happening while I'm traveling all week. It's like no, but it's all good. And thanks for tuning in to episode number 8 of TownHall Overwatch. We'll see you next time.